Hey parents, my name is Jake Habegger and I'm going to be your student's American History teacher at Freedom Middle School this year. And I want to tell you about how we're going to do class a little differently than you may be used to. I do something called the flipped mastery classroom. So to understand this, it'd be helpful to see what two different classrooms look like. The first is what we call the traditional classroom. And in this class, usually in class, the teacher would lecture, students take notes, there'll be quizzes, sometimes some hands-on learning or active learning whenever time allows, but there usually isn't too much time because there's a lot of standards to cover. The individual space is what we think of as homework. This is when a student works by themselves and they usually have a bit harder problems to work on based on what they learned in class. The problem with this style is that the students don't have the teacher support with the harder material. Now with the flipped classroom, we do a little differently. The individual space is done first. This is where students take notes on the material at home. And this could be done through videos, it could be slide presentations, readings, it could be lots of different ways. But the front loading happens there. Then when we come to school, we have time to work on the deeper learning, those harder things with the teacher support, with peer support. And we also have more time with the system that we can do more hands-on and active learning, such as Socratic seminars, project-based learning, and other things like that. Now the other part of this is called mastery. And with mastery, what we're doing is we're making sure students understand information before they move on. And we do that through making sure certain grades are met. Because to me, if a student makes a 60% on something, they're not ready to move on the harder material. Instead, we need to figure out what they do not understand, fix those problems, and then move on. So how we do it is if a student has an issue, they might have a one-on-one intervention with me. It might be small group instruction. It could just be reviewing their content, maybe watching a video again. It could also be extra remediation content, depending on the issue at hand. What I do is I use 3 different mastery levels to choose from. So there's the standard, 76% on all assignments. The honors is 86%, and AP would be a 93%. Now I let you choose your own adventure on this, because this helps decide what I'm going to recommend for high school classes. Because there's standard, honors, AP, and if you go to Franklin High School, there's an IB program, which I consider the same as the AP level. So you can choose your level at the beginning. This is a group decision between parents and students. It can be changed throughout the year, not by the students themselves unless they want to raise their level. But if you believe the level needs lowered, then I need to hear that from you, the parent. Now make sure you don't take this decision lightly. I grade according to the level. So if a student is going for AP, when we have a test with an essay, I grade it a lot harder. They have a different rubric that they're graded on to show that level of expectation. Now here's the fun stuff. Why is Flip Mastery awesome? Because it really is. There's a few reasons you should be excited that your student is in this class. One, your student's going to have more personal interactions with me, their teacher. Because instead of me standing up teaching the whole time in front of the whole group, I'm actually going around and working with students constantly, all day, every day. It also helps you help your student. Because if they're struggling in my class, you can look at the content with them. You can watch the videos or you can look through the slides and you can support them more. Also, your students have the ability to pause or rewind me, the teacher, at their own leisure. There's lots of times where I wish I could have gone back and heard what a teacher had said because I got distracted by something or it just was a difficult concept. Now that ability is there, and pausing to take notes is extremely helpful too. Also, we're going to have more active learning in class. We have time to now. So Socratic seminars, we'll have one of those in the first week of school, just for students to get the feel of what they'll be like. There'll also be deeper learning, because we have time to take it further than we usually would in a typical traditional classroom. And finally, students are able to push themselves with mastery. This is a way to build intrinsic motivation. This helps students to kind of push themselves further than they thought they could. If they thought they would only be a 70% student, when the expectation is 76%, students rise to the occasion. The big concept, the big idea, is your students are going to love it. They're going to learn a lot this year, and guess what? This is just the surface. It gets even better as we go. So thank you so much. I'm super excited to work with your students this year. If you need anything from me, here's my contact information. I highly recommend you and your students sign up for remind.com. This is how I send out reminders of tests coming up. It might be just special weird history things, maybe a new video that comes out, but it's a great way to keep up with everything going on. So if you need anything, please contact me. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to this school year.